Hey everybody, I mentioned in my previous videos that I'll be doing a commentary video on the old Goodwill Computer Works store and the new Grid store. Now for some of you guys out there who may be watching this video for the first time, may not have known this, but you know, the store that I get all my parts computers from, or most of them, the Goodwill Computer Works store, was closed in favor of moving across town to a new place near UNC Charlotte called the Grid. Goodwill, what they were trying to do here was make, you know, they were trying to expand the Computer Works store into something else that, you know, not only tailored to computers but also to electronics and video games and stuff like that. Now basically the existing Computer Works store, it opened in like 2007 or 2008, and when it initially opened, it was mainly hardcore computer stuff. And over the years, they started to use some of the storefront to have, you know, video game stuff, which I must say, they had some stuff that was hard to find, like, you know, tons of old NES stuff, you know, Nintendo Entertainment Systems, and lots of old video games, hard to find video games. And they found a new niche. So basically with this new Grid store, they decided to make it, you know, give it a big video game selection, but also have, you know, the computers along with TVs, Raspberry Pis, you know, computer accessories, refurbished PCs, and the part systems. But in the process, they alienated their existing customers by what you're about to see. So basically, as you all know, the main thing I go to the Computer Works store for is obviously for the parts computers. And it was located in a very convenient spot right off of Interstate 85. Didn't have to sit through a whole bunch of stop and go traffic just to get to the place. I mean, from the interstate there was, after getting off the interstate, there was only one red light I had to sit through just to get to the place. And with the new Grid store, there was like, I would say 5 or 6 red lights I have to sit through from getting off of 85. But anyways, let's go and start out by doing a view of the existing store. Now, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking in this video, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute this video because I did a lot of talking in the video to people in the store. But basically, this is the old Computer Works store located off of Freedom Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the shops at Freedom Shopping Center. There's the storefront. Now the amazing thing here was this store here doesn't have near as much square footage as the new store, but they did a very good job managing and making the best use of this square footage here. Now of course you walk in the store and you have part systems on the right, and they actually had some very nice ones here, like see like some workstations and stuff like that. And here you have a big selection of monitors, very good selection of monitors. Most of them are powered on so you can see them working. Now look over here. Here's where part systems start. You can see we have 4 shelves of part systems. I'm not sure if I mentioned 3 or 4 shelves in my videos, but the Computer Works store had 4 shelves of part systems and a test station. Right there you can see, make sure you can see it. Yep, there you go. You can see the monitor, keyboard, and there's a system actually up there where somebody had tested it. But the neat thing here was you have plenty of room to look around at the computers. You was never in anybody's way. And there's our buddy Riley there. I want to be a YouTube star. But basically, as you can see, you know, wide open space here to browse through the parts computers. And you had this test station, so you could test the computer and see if the motherboard was good, or see if this part worked or that part worked, for even going out before even buying the thing. And let's say if it was a system that didn't have memory, you could always just request, you know, a stick of RAM, and they'd give it to you to test it with. So yeah, you know, it was a very comfortable setting. Wide open storefront here in front of the parts computers, easy to test them. I mean, there's no telling how many computers I bought from here, but there's a closer look at the test station. At the time they had a lot of Dells in there, a lot of the slim Dells. had a bunch of compacts and e-machines. And I mean, this place has such a good variety. I mean, look at all the e-machines and compacts and stuff. You had such a big selection to choose from. So it was easy to get a good deal on something because, I mean, there was so much there. And the neat thing was, multiple people could look at the part systems at the same time. I mean, you was never in anybody's way when browsing through this store. Lots and lots of parts computers. And of course here I'm looking at a few. I didn't really go into high detail with these. I just did like a brief browse over. That one there was priced a little kinda high, but not too bad. But basically this these stores they I guess I could say they went through cycles. Sometimes they price things really good and it would sell fast, and other times they price it high and it would sit on the shelf for months, and they eventually have to mark it down to where it would sell. But basically, to the left of the parts computers, which I'm looking at the parts computers now, you had a very good selection of routers ready to go. You had your wireless routers and all sorts of stuff at good prices. And look, I mean, just look at the shelf of parts computers. It just goes on and on and on. Now here's routers. See, routers and power supplies. You have a big selection of routers. Look at all the routers. Huge selection. More power supplies. Has stuff in boxes. This is various stuff here. Random stuff. You can find some neat stuff up here. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at a huge selection of optical drives. Is that not nice or what? I mean, isn't that wonderful? Had such a good selection of optical drives and webcams, and you know, had an as-is bin of batteries, you know. And here's the display counter. These down here were ready-to-go laptops, decently priced, and they had, you know, wireless mice, video cards, video game accessories, video games, and you know, all sorts of good stuff in here in the display case. Look at all the Nintendo 64 games, and you know, Xbox games and Game Boy games and stuff like that. I mean, they had pretty much a little bit of everything here. And if you notice how they did such a good job at making use of the square footage here, and the video game stuff sold pretty good, so that's why with the new grid store they made a huge selection of video game stuff. Here we had some weird looking mice. Here's your better focus. Some more random stuff. Here's your checkout there. Here's your parts laptops, and they also provided chargers, so you have AC adapters to plug into the laptops to test the laptops, see if they work or not, just like they did with the desktops. So basically, at this store, you could test either your desktop part system or laptop part system before purchasing. I mean, the selection was very nice. Scroll ahead a little bit. Kind of doing a little review. Now look at this. Had a very good selection of games, and yeah, video games. Tons and tons of video games here. For like Xbox and PlayStation 2, and over here they had, you know, a good selection of laptop accessories like laptop keyboards, and let's see, stuff in boxes, sound cards and software, CPU coolers, laptop optical drives, and look at these bins down here. See these bins? They were slap full of add-on cards. This new store, I'm afraid, doesn't have that good of a selection. There's another look at the display case again. Now here was another section of video game stuff. Now look at this. Good selection of PS2s. stuff in boxes up here. I think I'm guessing those were Sega's. I can't tell, it's kind of blurred. Look at all the Nintendo 64s down there. GameCubes, PlayStation 2, Xboxes, and all sorts of good stuff. I mean, this store here had a very good selection of video game stuff too. I'd say about a third of the store was video game stuff. Look at this. NES controllers there. And all this stuff was marked pretty cheap too. Here's your printers. Had a good selection of inkjets and some lasers. And you got good selection of toner cartridges up here that Bill had donated in. Everything marked cheap to sell. Lots of printers. And look at the selection of keyboards and mice. I mean, look at the bins, slap full of mice. Look at these bins, slammed with mice. Look at all the keyboards just stacked up in rows. I mean, the selection here was absolutely incredible. And of course, here's your speakers, and have a look at this selection here. I mean, lots of desktop speakers and surround sound systems and all that good stuff. Refurbished computers ready to go. It had like 4 shelves slammed full of them. The grid has, I would say, about 2/3 of the selection. Now the grid does have more out on display than what this store has. I mean, this store here had 2 systems out on display on this particular day. Usually the best of the best were put out on display, but sometimes the crappy ones were put on display too. I think one of those 2 was an XP computer. And this is back when XP still had over a year of support left. Yeah, kind of doing a lap around, I guess. Oh, getting a closer look at these computers here. Trying to remember if these were ready to go, or if they were just refurbished. I think these were actually refurbished and ready to go. Dell Precision system there. Refurbished Windows system. Dual core Xeon, I believe. 2 gigs of RAM, 80 gig hard drive, $249.99. With I think Windows 7. And they even had Linux computers at this store. They had a Linux guy there who took older computers and put Linux on them, like this, and had Ubuntu 12.04 on it. $79.99 for this system. So yeah, this pretty much concludes the tour of the Computer Works store. Now this was over a year before they closed the store. They started to issue out the notice that they were going to be moving back in like March of this year, 2014. And they closed this store down in like May or June. And the funny thing here is this store wasn't very big, but they did such a good job of making use of the square footage. Now let's go look at what they have at the grid. I just posted this video about 20 minutes ago. I already got 10 views on it. Let's go ahead and have a look. Ready, guys? This is the grid, located off of Tryon Street in the Terraces Shopping Center, near close to UNC Charlotte, in the very congested university area. Now, I mentioned before that Both of these are off of 85, but the new one, you gotta sit to like 5 or 6 red lights, if not more, in heavily congested Harris Boulevard and Tryon Street traffic. Here it is, the grid. This is the grid, powered by Goodwill, formerly ComputerWorks. Now this store is about 3 times bigger than the previous one. Now this store here, as I mentioned, is tailored heavily toward the video game enthusiasts. It has a good selection of TVs, TV accessories, geek stuff like, let's say, the Raspberry Pis, which are pretty cool, and other things. But the one thing they really skimped on here, I think the worst, was computer parts. I mean, as you saw, and computer accessories too. I mean, as you saw at the previous ComputerWorks store, they had a very good selection of, you see, like keyboards and mice, and had a huge selection of part systems, huge selection of monitors, and yeah, huge selection of PCI cards, you know, various expansion cards, video cards, and fans, and all that good stuff. Now, have a look at what we have in this store here. Let's go and open the door. Let's go inside. When you walk in, you're greeted with cables, and you see you have TV accessories, computer accessories. Now, the funny thing is, this is really cheap stuff here, from a company called like Extreme. You got, it's like surge protectors and mounts from brands you don't normally hear of. Now here they have Ethernet cables and various stuff here for computers, and the funny thing is, this is stuff new in the box. Do you go to Goodwill to get new stuff? I mean, it's great when you find it, but normally you go to Goodwill to get used stuff. And of course they had their gaming selection. There's the Raspberry Pi selection. I was kind of quick in browsing the store today, so. Now here is a huge area. I mean, look at the square footage here that was devoted just to video games. Huge area just for video game stuff. Look at that computer sitting down there. Custom built machine there, it looks like. Look, they have some gaming computers or something up there, I don't know for sure. I mean, look at all the cosmetic stuff in this store. I mean, all the, you know, all the fancied up stuff you see. What I meant to say was, like, you know, the stuff on the ceiling and the walls, all the artwork and stuff. Now here's some refurbished computers here. As I mentioned, they had more on display at this store, but you know, the selection at this store just wasn't what you had at the previous one. Here they have some printers, but not a lot. I mean, you got a brand new Brother laser printer in the box. You got some laser printers and some inkjets there. See some bags, and they got this big lounge here that, you know, as you can see, it's not very doesn't look like it's being used by anybody. Got more refurbished computers and some monitors. Now look at this. They just got monitors piled up on a table here. At the previous store, they had them up on a shelf on display with them running so you could see how they worked. At this place, it's a totally different story. The more refurbished computers. They got a little display case there with some working laptops and some other accessories. You notice that, I mean, this store has a much bigger amount of square footage, but it's like I'm not finding as much as I found at the computer store that's appealing to me, or those who are looking for computer stuff. And lots of video game stuff. I mean, look at all the video game stuff. I mean, it's just slam full of video game stuff. Got some sound bars and an old arcade machine there. Got some TVs and stuff back there. Now, I need to look at the prices on those and see how they look, but lots of sound bars here. Bluetooth compatible sound bars. Audio accessories there. And see, right back over there, they had some, I think it was some more mice or something over there. Hell, look at this. This is their parts computer selection. Now, you just saw what they had at the previous store. You think this is a suitable replacement for the Computer Works store? I think not. Isn't this terrible? The previous store had 4 shelves slammed full of desktops. This store? I mean, that's awful. I mean, look at this. Yeah, this little bitty spot here. Now, here's something else that gets on my nerves about this store. Look here. No test station whatsoever. You're in a very cramped spot, and look at here. You got employee access doors here, so employees are constantly walking in and out with stuff, so you're always in their way. You're having to move out of their way, so, yeah. Pretty much, the parts computer selection here was an afterthought. And I'm not the only one who said that today. A couple other people in the store said the same thing. They didn't like the selection. They preferred the old store. Now, there's our laptops, and you notice, you can't test them. There's no way to test them here. There's no adapters you can plug in to test them or nothing. You're just left to take gambles when you buy it at this place. I mean, I got 2 part systems out in the car that I haven't had the chance to test yet because, well, I've been really busy today, but, you know, it's questionable about where they work. But yeah, you see this very terrible selection of parts computers. It's in the back of the store, so if you want to ask somebody for some memory to test, you got to walk to the front of the store, then they got to go into the back and get some customer assistance. I mean, it's a real mess. And the funny thing here is, like, they only chose like the best accessories to sell here. I mean, they chose the better of the sound cards and video cards and just put them in these bags. When at the previous store, they had bins just slap full of all sorts of different accessories. Now, they had a good selection of parts Xbox 360 there. I guarantee about all of them had red rings of death. But yeah, they had this awful selection of parts desktops. That's what's killing me the most about this new store. That's really what really, in my opinion, kills this new store. Is the poor selection of parts computers. I mean, Goodwill Computer Works always had a good selection of parts systems and parts, you know, in their bins and stuff to buy. This place is like an afterthought. I mean, look at this. That's terrible. Yeah, I'm not very pleased with this at all. See, typically, I go to the Computer Works store around once a week, or I went to the Computer Works store around once or twice a week. This new store, it's been open since, I think, June or July. Here it is, August. Today was my 2nd day there. My 2nd time ever being there since it opened. Yeah, not impressed with this new store. So anyways, this wraps up my commentary and opinions between the 2 stores. The original Goodwill Computer Works store, which I highly miss and wish they didn't close, and this new Grid store, which I could care less for. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Grid is a nice store. They did a good job with the store in regards to the video games and the TVs and stuff like that, but the new store, I could say the selection of parts computers and refurbished computers and you know, how they had the monitors on display. 2 words: epic fail. Hear that, Goodwill? Epic fail. So yeah, definitely, Goodwill. If that existing storefront of Freedom is not occupied, maybe you should consider reopening it, because with this new Grid, I mean, it's okay if you want to tailor to the college students at UNC Charlotte, and if you want to tailor to the video game enthusiasts and all that stuff. But don't kill a good store in the process. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, seriously, don't fix a store that was good in the first place, because what you did is you alienated a lot of your existing customers in the process. So anyways, and the questions or comments, feel free to ask them. Thanks for watching.